last name is Amanchukwu.
Thank you very much for correcting me, Mr. Amanchukwu.
Yes, no problem. It means I know God. Luke chapter 17:2 says, "It is better for a person to have a millstone tied around their neck and to be thrown into the sea than for anyone to harm or damage a child." And so the question today to the school board is, only you know whether or not your role, the policies, the curriculum, and the things that you allow in this school system in Wake County, only you know whether or not a millstone is tied around your neck. The reality is this: God is going to judge every last one of you for decisions that are made on behalf of children. You know, this past year we spent $1 million on a diversity office. And how did that benefit black children?
How did that benefit Sun Teens, man? $1 million on the diversity office. Well, that's what Sun people have been asking for. Okay? They didn't ask for tutoring. They didn't ask for tutoring farms. They didn't ask for proctored study halls. They didn't ask for training, test-taking training. They've been asking for the last few years for criminal justice reform, shorter sentences for criminals, friendlier cops for criminals, and in the schools, less suspensions, or at least make the suspensions equal. For every one Sun Teen you suspend, you have to suspend a glider team. Stuff like that. Stuff that deals with antisocial behavior. So they're not focused on academics. And the schools gave them what they wanted. Inclusion and equity. Okay, so you haven't been able to meet the bar, meet the standard, and you show no desire to want to meet the standard through actually executing and meeting the standard. So you want the standard brought down to you. This is why they don't have the SATs anymore in a lot of schools. It's not a requirement. Being on time to class is not a requirement. Turning in your work on time is not a requirement. And all this stuff comes out of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So some people have got exactly what they wanted. And I get it, it's frustrating, but this is exactly what you wanted. And there are byproducts of that. There are consequences to that.
And how did that benefit black children? How did it benefit children in general? Well, 78% of 3rd through 8th grade black students are not proficient in math in Wake County. We're wasting taxpayer dollars putting money towards this diversity office that's not benefiting those who need it the most. 66% of 3rd through 8th grade students are not proficient in reading. Black students, they're not reading on grade level.
Listen, man, this is the thing about some people. You say you're going to vote for Trump. You a sellout. You Uncle Tom, because you talking about that stuff in public. You talk about the crime in the community. You a sellout. You Uncle Tom, man. What you talking about that stuff in public, man? around other groups, man. You ain't supposed to talk about that stuff around other groups, man. That's our personal business, man. Talk about the degeneracy and the debauchery in the music, man. That's a private conversation for our community only, man. You letting them other groups in our conversation, man. It's not that I disagree with you, man, but you ain't supposed to be saying that in public, man. You sell out, man. Did you hear these numbers about how your children are doing in school? By y'all logic, this dude is a huge sellout. I mean, those numbers are atrocious. They're abysmal. I mean, they're better than Baltimore and Memphis, but in New Orleans, but and Miami Gardens, but and a host of other places. But they're still downright dreadful. And the sad part, the part that nobody wants to say is, there's no solution to that. You can't fix that. Okay? You cannot fix that. That right there is coded into the genome. But what you can do is you still can prepare a lot of these Sun teams for a bright future by getting them involved in things that they'll be good at. Trade schools. I think a lot of Sun teams should just go to trade school, man. Instead of college and even high school. Pick up a trade. Have a much better life, man. Make your money. Make good money.
6% of 3rd through 8th grade students are not proficient in reading. Black students. They're not reading on grade level. They're not performing mathematically, and they're not going to be able to get jobs in the fields like STEM. But we're wasting money on a diversity, equity, and inclusion office while we are failing black students in the name of diversity. You know, in the Jim Crow era, black students were locked out of the public school system. But today they are trapped in. And many of these students need options. They need school choice. They need the opportunity to take their taxpayer dollars and take it to school systems that will benefit them and support them and educate them. And as we talk about inclusion and making sure that the trans student feels comfortable and the queer student feels comfortable, what does that have to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic? As we are teaching cultural Marxism and grooming children to be the next pervert, we are damaging our kids in this public school system, and it needs to stop.